All men seek happiness. This is without exception. Whatever different means they employ, they all tend to this end. The cause of some going to war and of others avoiding it is the same desire in both, attended with different views. The will never takes the least step but to this object. This is the motive of every action of every man, even of those who hang themselves. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. What is the straightest line to happiness? What is the surest, smartest route to satisfaction, meaning, and fulfillment? Throughout recorded history, people have rarely tried 5 paths that promised happiness. Fortune, amassing wealth and possessions. Fame, being widely known, loved and admired, remembered for your looks and intelligence or ability. Pleasure, that is entertainment, food, sex, art, travel. Power, being successful, leading and controlling others. And piety, high morals, religious devotion or wisdom. But which of those 5 is the straightest line to happiness? The problem people have found is that when you pursue one, it robs you of the others. A man seeking pleasure has to spend much of his fortune on his pleasure. The man seeking fortune has to spend a lot of non-pleasuresome hours earning that wealth. The man pursuing power gives up a lot of pleasure and popularity to get there. The man going after piety finds he's forbidden from pursuing certain pleasures or fortunes or power. No one can have it all. Yay! So which one should we pursue? What if one man were able to test all of these for happiness, meaning, or fulfillment? What if one man were uniquely privileged with fame, fortune, power and pleasure and piety without losing on any of them? Wouldn't he be interesting to interview? There was such a man. Consider how he breaks the tape ahead of everyone on each of these. Fortune, personal wealth, he owned around 1,000 tons of gold, and combined with his personal property and land, he had a net worth of around $2.1 trillion. Cars, he owned 13,400 of his own vehicles. Homes, he had a palace that took 13 years to complete. Fame, in his time, all the political leaders of the world knew of him and came to see him. His words were translated and repeated across the civilized world. He was the most well-known man in the world, even beyond his life. The books that he wrote have been printed over 5 billion times and read by many more. Pleasure. With the kind of wealth he had, there were no limits on how much he could pursue pleasure. Women, he had a harem of 1,000 women, chosen from the most beautiful women around the world. Art and entertainment, he brought in the best artists from around the world to decorate his surroundings, the best musicians, singers, and poets to amuse him every day. Food, he had a small army of culinary staff that cooked over 150 animals a day to feed his massive household, providing him daily with international delicacies. Power. He exercised absolute control over an area of over 34,000 square kilometers and had surrounding nations paying taxes to him. He remained an unchallenged sovereign for 40 years. Piety. He spent years reading the philosophy and religions of world civilizations. He became so expert in religious and moral knowledge that millions of people came to look to him as the one who had the answers, traveling thousands of kilometers to visit him and personally ask him questions. So, having tested each of these for satisfaction, which did he say was the purest form of happiness? Fortune? No. He said money is like drinking seawater. The more you have, the thirstier you get. The more you have, the more parasites surround you. Worst of all, you leave this world with exactly the same amount you came into it. You save nothing. Fame? No. No matter how many people love you now, he found out that in one generation you are forgotten. Popularity is as fickle and changeable as the wind. Pleasure? No, he found that it accomplishes nothing and seems insane afterwards. It tantalizes and then fails to deliver. And as the body ages, it has less and less ability to experience pleasure until it is gone completely. Power? No. He said, whatever power you have, you cannot control the day of your death. You can control many things, but you can never control everything. Pure time and chance overtake the most powerful of men and end their lives. So he said, what is the point of power if it can't save your life? What about piety? Well, he said the same event happens to the good and the evil, to the believer and the unbeliever. They all die. The moral man is not more remembered or honored, and his religion or devotion didn't stop him from dying. To put it bluntly, he said, none of these get you happiness. Each of them falls short of satisfaction. Each of them is plagued with troubles that take away from full happiness. And in the end, each of them is cut short by death. Remember, this is the man who tried hedonism, pleasure yourself, stoicism, deny yourself and be disciplined, aestheticism, find the beautiful, pietism, pursue religious and moral knowledge until you have mastered it. In the end, he said there are only two options left to us. The first, nihilism. Everything is meaningless, hopeless, and empty. All our pursuits add up to nothing. Death cancels them out. Life is aimless striving, wasted breath. Non-existence is better than existence. Or second, fideism, or faith. Only one person can control how much wealth you get and allow you to enjoy it. Only one person is in charge of bodily pleasure and can give it to you without regret. Only one person understands the meaning of life, of true morality, of goodness. Only one person understands the right use of power and wields it himself. And this same person is the only one with immortality. The Creator, God, gives life and has the power to take it or preserve it. God gives the gifts of fame, fortune, power, pleasure, and piety. But apart from Him, each of these only frustrates. Each one goads us with the emptiness of life. It is like multiplying by zero. No matter how large the number is, your fortune factor, or fame factor, or power, or pleasure, or piety factor, if you do not know and love the Creator, you are multiplying by zero. The happiness, the satisfaction, the pleasure result will be zero. Who was this man? King Solomon, perhaps the greatest king that has ever lived. His personal diary of the search for satisfaction is called Ecclesiastes, and this was his final conclusion. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is man's all. For God will bring every work into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil.